Tatooine Ghost was a later addition to the expanded universe and fits into the space between the first two EU eras, the era of the Warlords and the Resurgent Empire Era. Coruscant has been taken, Ysain Isard has been defeated, Warlord Zinj has fallen, and Han and Leia have wed. The standalone story serves as a nice inflection point in the flow of the narrative, closing out some of the dangling threads from the courtship of Princess Leia and setting up some of the points we will see in the coming Thrawn trilogy. There are no huge space battles or consequential lightsaber fights. The story is small and intimate, focusing on Han and Leia and their feelings about their future. That isn't to say there's not still some interesting developments in the story, only that it's much smaller in scale than some of the previous entries and the ones to come. Let's dive in. The story takes place several months after the courtship of Princess Leia. Han and Leia are on their honeymoon, with Chewbacca and C-3PO in tow, and have found themselves in orbit around Tatooine. There is an art auction being held on the planet that is not entirely on the up and up, and Leia is interested in one of the items, a painting from Alderaan named Killik Twilight. The story opens on Leia receiving a vision where a face appears in the space around the twin suns of Tatooine, with the suns as the figure's eyes. She does not know who this person is, but there is something very familiar about him to her. She watches as the person's face shifts into the visage of Darth Vader. Then, Vader's mask melts away to show Luke. The idea of Luke falling to the dark side like their father is terrifying to her. She is shaken from her vision by alarms going off, indicating the appearance of a Star Destroyer, the Chimera, captained by Giled Pellaeon. The sudden appearance of a Star Destroyer of such renown near a backwater planet like Tatooine makes Han suspicious. Leia substantiates his suspicion by revealing that her intention to purchase the Killik Twilight, while a genuine desire, is also a mission for the New Republic. When the painting was made years ago, a cipher was hidden within it that could be used to discover the communication methods between the New Republic and its spies. Han is angry at Leia for having deceived him, but he must act quickly to avoid the Chimera. After some fancy flying, Han is able to get away and hide on the planet. Han and Leia go to survey the items up for auction disguised as a Devaronian and a Twi'lek, and find a heavy Imperial presence already there. So as not to attract attention to the painting, Han and Leia contract a band of squibs to purchase it for them. While perusing, Leia happens upon a hollow cube displaying a young human boy standing in triumph by a pod racer. The owner of the cube, Kitster Benai, claims it is his childhood friend and the only human to ever win a pod race. Han, knowing the difficulty of piloting a pod racer, is incredulous, but Leia is oddly drawn to the image. Later that evening, they discuss the cube, with Han suspecting Leia is changing her mind about having children. Leia is angry at this accusation. Prior to marrying, she made it clear to Han that she did not intend on having any children out of a fear that they could fall to the dark side like Vader. The next day, the cube goes up for auction, where it is revealed that the child in the image is none other than Mos Espa's own Anakin Skywalker. The squibs begin furiously bidding on the item. Han is forced to admit to Leia that he told them to buy the cube for them, not knowing that it was her father in the image. Han is able to call off the squibs from pursuing the cube, and it goes to another buyer. Then the Killik Twilight comes up for auction. The auction is tense, with an Imperial officer among those driving the bid for the painting higher and higher. Realizing that the Imperials are determined to win the painting, Han decides to go for a different tactic. He finds the private booth of the painting owner and blackmails him with revealing that he is the one who stole the painting and is trying to profit off of it. He agrees to accept the squib's bid. The Imperials, angry over losing the painting, move to seize it. Han, realizing that it would be better to destroy the painting than let it fall into Imperial hands, tosses a thermal detonator at the painting. At the last moment, Kitster steals the painting and flees as the detonator explodes. Han and Leia track down Kitster's home and finds his wife, Tamara, acting strangely. After some discussion, they convince her that they are not a threat to her or Kitster, and that they need to know where he is. She doesn't know exactly where he is, but she takes them to one of his partners, Wald, who tells them that he has gone to a remote part of Tatooine. In order to get to him in time, they must borrow a swoop bite from Kitster's ex-wife, Udara. Han proves his worth and takes off after Kitster. In the meantime, Tamara takes her children and Leia to some of Watto's old slave quarters to hide from the Imperials. While Han is pursuing Kitster, Leia, Chewbacca, and 3PO are taken out into the desert to get closer to where Han will be. They happen upon the Darklighter homestead where Leia meets with the parents of Rebellion hero Biggs and New Republic hero Gavin. While waiting out the sandstorm, Leia is given a video journal that had been found buried at the old Lars homestead that the Darklighters had intended to pass along to Luke. After reviewing it, Leia discovers the journal belongs to her grandmother, Shmi Skywalker. Meanwhile, Han catches up to the evidence of a sand crawler and stops to investigate. His swoop bike sinks into the sand, leaving him on foot in a sandstorm. Leia searches for Han while also reviewing the journal. She is shocked to see how kind and compassionate the boy who would become Darth Vader was, and how much love those around him had for him. The group eventually catches up with Han and saves him before he succumbs to the elements. They spend some time allowing him to rest and recuperate. After he is recovered, they continue their pursuit of Kitster. Along the way, they encounter Imperial patrols, which they notice are operating at increased efficiency due to some new mysterious commander. The group begin a long and harrowing journey across the barren desert of Tatooine, following clues and planned trading routes to find the Killik Twilight. Along the trip, Leia continues to review Shmi's journals, which details her affection for Watto and her conspiring with Klieg Lars to be purchased by him, and eventually freed and married. The recording ends with Shmi talking about Tusken raiding parties moving closer to their moisture farm. As their pursuit travels closer to Obi-Wan's old house, Leia feels a prompting to divert to it. Against Han's wishes, they do so. They search the house and find a hidden data pad containing charted courses into the unknown region, and Obi-Wan's thoughts on searching for something called Outbound Flight, which none of the party are aware of. While planning their next move, Leia feels another draw to a nearby location. They go to it and find a Tusken camp that is believed to be haunted by a ghost. Upon arrival, Leia realizes what the ghost is: the anger of Anakin Skywalker over his mother's death. This is the location of the camp where Shmi was held, tortured, and died. They find Kitster there and are able to remove the data chip with the security codes on it, but are forced to allow the painting to fall into Imperial hands. They escape the planet. Leia considers all she has learned from her grandmother's journal and realizes that she has been allowing her anger over Darth Vader to influence her future. She forgives Anakin and looks to the future with renewed hope and the desire to have children. Though it's not among my favorite, Tatooine Ghost is a nice book. If you're looking for a monumental, galaxy-shifting story that hops all over the galaxy and features massive battles, this is not the book for you. It's a simple story that takes place on a single planet. However, it does tell a story that is important, bridging the gap between the courtship of Princess Leia and heir to the Empire, and really sets the stage for the next big arc in the expanded universe. The high point of the book is definitely the bits and pieces of Shmi's journal. The action can be a little hard to follow at times, but overall you can follow the gist of the story. I also really like the looming threat of this new Imperial leader that hangs over the galaxy at this time and has the Empire operating much more efficiently. If you like smaller stories or want some Han and Leia time, I recommend the book. Next time we will begin the next big arc of the EU, the Empire Resurgent, with the book that started it all, The Heir to the Empire. Thanks for watching.